Hi guys, Marian here. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to today's video, which is 10 facts about the Jewish holiday of Sukkot. If you've been watching my channel, you know that I have been missing this video in my 10 facts repertoire, but if there's any other Jewish holidays you are interested in learning more about, I will link the others down below because I think I've done almost all the main ones by now, and I apologize to the Sukkot lovers out there that I had missed this one last year or the year before, but I'm making up for it now, so I hope you guys like this video. If you do, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel down below. And as always with this video, my 10th fact is always the one that I believe is the most important, spiritual, and the focus of the holiday, so stay tuned for that one. Okay, so let's jump in. If you're new here, by the way, welcome. My name is Marian and I make videos about being a mom and being a Jewish mom, and I would love it if you hit that subscribe button if you want to see more content like this. So my first fact about Sukkot is just what is this crazy holiday where you may have noticed some temporary huts around your neighborhood if you live in a Jewish area, and the holiday of Sukkot is all about these huts or booths called sukkahs, and they represent the time that the Jewish people spent wandering in the desert from Egypt to the promised land of Israel, and this idea of temporariness and shelter is really woven in throughout the holiday. My second fact for you is that Sukkot is a whole week long, so you'll see these temporary huts or sukkahs up for a whole week, and that the holiday occurs 5 days after the Jewish holiday of Yom Kippur, which occurs very shortly after the Jewish holiday of Rosh Hashanah, so it's a lot of high holidays. I actually just saw someone post on Instagram that they have high holiday fatigue right now, and I totally get that. It is a lot, and it's also like it's right at the beginning of the Jewish New Year, so there's all this like build up and momentum for the new year, and then it's Yom Kippur, and then Sukkot, and then you've got a whole bunch more right after that, so yes, it is a lot. My third fact for you is that Sukkot is actually one of 3 pilgrimage festivals in the Jewish calendar, and these are very much linked to the harvest time, and in ancient days, Jewish people would actually pilgrimage to the Holy Temple site, which is now where the Kotel is, or the Western Wall is in Jerusalem, and they would bring with a sacrifice, a harvest, to this Holy Temple. So it very much is still tied with that aspect of our farming and agricultural roots. My fourth fact is that it's traditional to eat in the sukkah, and some people even sleep in the sukkah, so it really helps if you're in a temperate climate. You'll kind of see this with most Jewish holidays in that their seasonality is themed with the current season in Israel and the Middle East. So sometimes if you live in a very different part of the world with a very different climate, it can feel kind of strange. I know some people experience snow during Sukkot, which is very tough to sleep in your sukkah when that's going on. But yes, it's definitely meant for you to dwell in and especially to eat in. My fifth fact is that it's a very home-based holiday, and one of the mitzvahs of the holiday is to invite guests into your home, or rather into your sukkah. So it's meant to be very joyful and include people to come in and celebrate the holiday with you. And one aspect of this idea of inviting guests is called ushpizin, where you literally call our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Sarah, Becca, Rachel, to join you metaphorically, spiritually, in your sukkah, and it really adds to this idea of holiness and joyfulness and spiritedness of the holiday. My sixth fact is about the symbols of the holiday, and there are 2 main ones aside from the sukkah itself, and that is the Lulav and the etrog, and together they make up the 4 species, the arba minim of the holiday, which are myrtle, willow, etrog, which is a citrus fruit, and I'm gonna look it up, palm. So the lulav, it looks like this. It's kind of look like, I don't know, a shaky spear. It's like a plant, the palm in this, in the center, and it's got, it makes this like shaky noise. I'm sorry I don't have one here to show you guys. Maybe I'll insert a picture. But basically you have the green of the lulav of the different plant species, and the yellow etrog, lemon looking fruit, citrus, and every day in the sukkah you're meant to smell them, experience the sense of them, and shake them. My 7th fact is all about the meaning of the holiday, and I mentioned this a little bit earlier in that it's meant to be very joyful and also to focus on what's important versus what's temporary. And part of the aspect of building this temporary shelter or dwelling is to remind us about the things that can come and go versus what's important and what to hold on to like your family and friends that you're celebrating each day with, versus the impermanence of our material world. Fact for you is that the holiday starts on the full moon of Tishrei, and it's very common for Jewish holidays to begin during a full moon because in ancient times this is the best way to gather in the evening when there wasn't artificial light. But it also is to remind us again about this connection to the natural world, and to remind us that our bodies and spirits are in sync with those rhythms of the world, whether it's the moon or the seasons changing, that it's very important to tie into those. It's very easy in our modern world to feel detached from those natural rhythms and cycles, and a lot of the Jewish holidays are meant to pull us back in and remind us about that important connection. And my 9th fact, I did that one right, is about how I celebrate the holiday. We do not have a sukkah in our house, and there are a lot of reasons for that. I just didn't grow up having one in our home, so I'm kind of just used to that. The other excuse I have is that they can be very expensive. You can get these sukkah kits, they're called. Synagogues will sell them, or local Jewish shops, but to initially invest can cost a few $100s. It can cost less, but in my area where I live, if you want a sukkah kit, it's probably about $400. And every year you also have to buy the schach, which is the natural fronds that go on the top of the sukkah. So there's a lot of effort and some cost associated with it. Now that being said, of course, everyone has their priorities. It's a one-time investment, etc., etc. So I don't want to make the excuse, but basically I just didn't grow up having one. We went to synagogue, we went to a friend's house that had one, and that is very, very common. Most religious or Orthodox Jewish people will have a sukkah, or live close by to one if they're in a little apartment or something. But I would say it's less common for less religious Jews to build them. My 10th fact, and as I promised, to me, I believe this is the most important one, is the concept of what it means to build the sukkah. Yes, there's the idea of temporariness, but it's also, and more importantly to me, the idea of openness. So the sukkah should have 3 sides, and one side should be completely open, and that speaks to this philosophy and importance of welcoming others into our sukkah and welcoming guests. And to me, this is so important because it also reminds us to open our hearts and our minds to the other, to the guest, to the people who don't feel included. So if there are people in your community who are seen as others, whether that's an LGBTQ person, whether that's somebody who has converted, whether that's a person of color, whether that's a person who just isn't Jewish at all but is part of your community, whatever is the otherness in them that is somehow maybe keeping them apart, I would urge you to use this holiday to open your minds and hearts to how we can all be more inclusive. So I hope you liked this video. If you did, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. Check out my other 10 facts videos, which I will link down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!